My name is Lance Evans, and I'm the superintendent in the New Albany School District. I'm here with some fellow administrators in our school district to have a conversation with you, the students and the parents, as well as the community, on grading and grading expectations during the time of this pandemic while our students are involved in virtual online learning. Remember, your students have opportunities now that they don't normally have during the school year in order to improve their grades. The key to that is them taking advantage of the opportunity. The part that is very essential to that is you as parents ensuring that they're taking advantage of the opportunity. Remember, this virtual learning is an actual one-on-one platform in which the teacher is in a virtual learning environment we're leveraging an app called Google Meet, and your children are actually in a live classroom. The only difference is it's through distance learning. So please make sure that they're taking advantage of this situation. We're going to have a conversation here about this process, so I'm just going to turn it over to Mr. Henry and let him start the conversation.
Well, you know, Dr. Evans, I think one of the great things is, you know, this is a great opportunity for all of our students district-wide to improve their grades. You know, one thing we had to think about was to be fair to our students. How do we do that? Because, you know, we're trying to make this available to as many students as we possibly can. And what we did was we came up with each student will have a baseline of their grade, and this will be based on performance prior to the emergency that we're under.
Also, during that time that as we're giving grades to our students for the work that they're doing in online virtual school, parents just want to let you know that you have opportunities to go in and check in STI to see their grades and have those opportunities there. For any work that has not been attempted by a student or that they have not done, teachers will put in an NGR, which stands for not graded. So as you're going through and checking into STI, like you check on your grades in any normal circumstance to see how your kids are doing, if you see that, that means that your students have not done that assignment. Please encourage them to go back and do those assignments for those teachers. They can go through, of course, Canvas to submit those and things like that. So we're trying to take care of that on that basis right there. We'll turn it over to Dr. Hill and let him tell you a few things specific to elementary school and some things they're doing there.
Just to reiterate and concur with all that's been said, your students' grade, we want to ensure it will be based on the third 9 weeks grading period. This is a great learning opportunity. Students, we want you to stay sharp. We want you to continue to work hard so you continue to progress.
And on what Dr. Hill was saying, our goal for virtual school is to continue your child's education. We want to give them opportunities as close to a real classroom as they can get. And we believe that we are doing that to the best of our ability to get your students to move on for their classes they're going to be taking in the fall, that getting them prepared for the ACT. We don't want learning to stop in New Albany. We want to continue your students on the track so that they can reach the goals that they want to when they finish their school career. Some of our students are going off to college in the fall. We want to continue to prepare them for things that they're going to be doing when they go to college in the fall. We want to make sure that we give these opportunities to our students to continue and further their education during this time of uncertainty.
You know, Mr. Farrell, one of the things that you said kind of struck a chord with me. If you have listened to the news and you see what's taking place right now in the country, a lot of your colleges, your IHL schools, your private colleges, universities, you know, they're transitioning in the fall to online distance learning. So again, that's the New Albany School District in conjunction with its teachers and the support of the community and the parents, preparing those students for success. You know, we're preparing all of our students for success. So I'm really excited about the opportunity for them to go ahead and gain access to that information, that learning platform, to help them. Of course, we've been working in somewhat of this process over the course of the last couple of years. But while we're sitting here, let's expand a little bit on what does a day look like. What is a day in a middle school student's life? What does that look like with virtual online learning?
Well, what we found is, you know, we've learned a lot and we've had to make changes as we've kind of went through this journey. And in saying this journey, you know, a typical week for a middle school student would be he may have an English class on a Monday, a math class on a Tuesday, and different classes, different days that essentially gives that student an opportunity to meet face-to-face through Google Meet with his or her teacher and ask any questions about an assignment that may be presented to them through a very different platform, where that could be Canvas for our students that actually have resources at home and internet access, or maybe just a text picture of an assignment that they can actually work the assignment and send a text back. Or it may be a student that maybe picks up a packet of work and can actually take a picture of that and send it back to us. So, there's just a lot of different things that we're doing trying to meet the needs of all of our students.
Mr. Farrell, Dr. Hill, y'all kind of build on that. Let's go with the elementary first. What does that look like for an elementary student?
Very much so similar. Students have an opportunity to integrate with their students and their teachers face-to-face in real time. They can interact with the teacher, they can interact with the student, they can ask questions, they can put questions in a text box. They will still pursue their regular subjects, math, science, social studies, and English. And it's very much so the future of learning. And so it gives them an opportunity to interface with their students and their teachers and also ask those posing questions that they may have.
Well, at the high school, the interaction and things are very similar, those kind of things, but we have our students have our classes every other day. So it's like a modified block. So they are also given the assignments ahead of time before they go into the classes, once again, so they can kind of do some pre-work to go into the classes and know what's going to go in the class that day, and then they have a couple of days to get the assignments ready for the next class. Because, like I said, we're kind of on a modified block type of deal, which is where you meet every other day, like a lot of colleges do.
And kind of putting a personal reference to that, so it'd make it more real, is I have two children that are in our school district. I have a 10th grader and I have a 5th grader. My son, who's a 5th grader, a day in my house with him looks like his class starts at 10 o'clock, his first class. And just like Dr. Hill said, it alternates. He has language arts one day and then math and science the other. And so it's like a Monday, Wednesday, and then a Tuesday, Thursday, and then that rotates the next week so that all the courses in the end have an adequate and equal amount of instructional time. So he's in class for somewhere around 2.5 hours, 3 hours. But the thing that's so rich and so different about that we've talked about earlier is the fact that just like we're sitting here having a conversation, that teacher is instructing that way. And it's very powerful. The other thing is that social, emotional aspect of it, because they still get to see their teachers. Because we gotta remember right now, we all have children, those of us that are sitting here, and it's a tough time for parents and kids because you're in the house and your kids can't really play with their friends, and my son, his English teacher, has them journaling every day. And I've gone back and I've read his journal entries. One of the things today, this morning before I left, is he was journaling about how he enjoys playing Fortnite with some of his buddies, which obviously I have to limit some of that in my house because that would dominate kids' lives now. You know how that works. But he misses having the opportunity to hang out and play with his friends. Like one of the examples was, they play this game called Snag, right? The guys do. So he really misses the opportunity to be out there and play Snag and play the football games and that type of thing. But the part that I think really makes it impactful for both my son and my daughter's day is very similar to my son's, is that they have the information introduced so that when they come into class the next day, that learning has already been established. That objective that's going to be accomplished, the standard that's going to be taught, it's already been laid out, those expectations and what the outcome of the learning will end up being. Why don't y'all elaborate just a little bit more on the opportunities, because we talk kind of generally about those opportunities, but talk more about the opportunities that students have to improve ACT scores right now, the opportunities that they have to improve their writing and their analytical skills. Talk a little bit about that. Mr. Farrell, you started talking about the ACT aspect. Maybe go into a little more detail, and you might talk about how we already had an ACT plan established in our school district and how you were kind of reinventing that process.
Right. Well, one thing that I've dropped in classrooms and things like that online, just like a kid goes into a classroom. And there have been several times to where students have already done all their work and things like that that the teacher's established, and so the teacher brings out ACT work for them to do, or has those problems there and works out problems with them just like they would in the classroom to go through the ACT. So I'm seeing that a lot across the board. Teachers are still carrying out those ACT problems, those practice questions of the day in their classes to help continue that, almost as supplemental work to the work they're giving them in their regular coursework to help prepare them, because that's very, very important for us that we get our students a good foundation and good instruction on the ACT, because that's important for college.
Well, you know something, we're doing that through every building in the district. I know we are. And, you know, coming from a parent that's got even a kindergartner and a fifth grader, you know, that puts money in your pocket later on down the road, you know, as much as we can do preparing them for that ACT. So, you know, that's a great thing what you're doing for sure.
I think that's so true. You know, students, as you grow up and you matriculate onto the older grades, you know, it's so very important that you learn how to work independently and also research. So just want to encourage you during this time to use all those resources that are at your disposal, develop your listening skills, develop your research skills during this time.
Hey, and you know, one thing I can say is honestly, I can't tell you how impressed I am with our teachers and the jobs that they have done and the innovative things that they're doing through the platforms we have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think, you know, our teachers are getting better. I know it's a challenge right now, but they are up to the challenge and they are meeting it head on and doing an amazing job.
You know, and one thing that makes all this possible is we have an amazing technology department, and Mr. Robert Garrett heads that up, and that instructional standpoint, leveraging the technology and the training of our teachers. You know, we wouldn't be as effective as we are had that pathway not already been laid. So let's talk just for a minute about the proficiency of our teachers and how they actually leverage some of those learning platforms and things like Mastery Connect. Talk about how Mastery Connect works.
Well, I'll just speak a little for the teachers of the high school. I mean, it was amazing to me how prepared they were. I mean, we had spring break, and then 3 days later, we're starting on a Thursday. You know, school days, they're preparing, ready to rock and roll with virtual school. It was like they were just ready to rock and roll with it. They are so innovative in the things that they do with their students. The platforms they use, how many different apps and programs and things that they've been exposed to and mastered to be able to just pick up and keep going. Just like, I know it's not the same day-to-day interaction and we're not in the classrooms, but to keep on going in an atmosphere that can be as close as possible to that as you can get.
Well, you know, we all know that, you know, there's no substitute for that face-to-face interaction with a student in a classroom. You know, under the national emergency order, we just can't do that. But through our technology that we have, our resources we have in our district, you know, we're making the best out of this terrible situation. And I can tell you again, like Dr. Evans said, from a parent standpoint, I've got a first grader that every morning she hops out of bed and she is ready to get on there with her classmates. And they're like, hey, Mia, hey, this, you know, hey, and just saying hello to everybody. And, you know, just having that connection there that they essentially would not have if we weren't providing this opportunity for them. It's just, as a parent and an administrator, I tell you, I don't know if you can have a more rewarding time right now.
I think it's just been extremely beneficial to students. I think the infrastructure was already there. The one-to-one initiative was already there. Students were already familiar with the iPad. They were already familiar with using Google Meets. They were already familiar with using Canvas and all of those programs. And so we're still able to look at STAR. We're still able to look at Mastery Connect and understand what our students need and meet their needs accordingly. So I think that's great.
You know, and one last thing as we kind of wrap this up is I'm excited because we in our school district have the capacity from a instructional technology standpoint, our technology department, our teachers, our students, our parents, our administrators. You know, think of it as a spoke in a bicycle wheel. You know, each one of those has cogs, right? So the key to leadership is understanding that you keep the spoke going, but you have to have the right people in each one of those cogs on the spoke. And that's one of the things that's so great here is everybody works together, and we all understand the strategic plan and the outcome, you know, we're trying to accomplish. And one of the biggest advantages of all the things that we've talked about is I truly believe that when we come back to school, there are going to be huge discrepancies and achievement gaps in learning. And we're very lucky because we have had the technology and the training for our teachers and the buy-in in our teachers. Ours are going to be much smaller because that instruction has been taking place.
Absolutely.
You know, and this looks different in every school district because not every school district operates in the way that others do. Just in different homes, everybody kind of operates differently with their home runs different. So I believe in what we're doing. I know you gentlemen believe in what we're doing, but something that I truly believe in is the drive and the initiative of our teachers and of our students and of our parents and of our community. You know, the most direct sign of a high performing school district is a community that has very high expectations of the education in that community. So, you know, the highest performing school districts have the communities that have the highest expectations of the students.
That's true.
What, is there anything else y'all want to add?
Yeah, I was going to say one thing too. Talking about the people we have here at New Albany High School and throughout the district, you know, we understand that this is a very, very tough time for our seniors. We understand that they're going through a lot. So I just want to say we try to do some things to try to make the things that they're missing right now being together as much as we can. And that's been a lot of hard work from Miss Melanie Shannon. I know she's worked a lot on getting things prepared for our seniors, but also our teachers have come together to think of ideas with, you know, the senior spotlights that have been on Facebook, the signs in the yards. We had 15 different, I think up to 15 different staff members that day running around town putting signs in seniors' yards. So seniors, if you didn't get a sign, call the office, let us know. We try to get everyone out there. We went through, got the addresses that were in the grade book. If you didn't get one, call us. We need to get one to you. If you hadn't turned in your senior spotlight, get in touch with us so we can get that out there for you too. But I'm really, really proud of the things our teachers have done to try to make our students feel as senior-like in a time where they're not getting to feel those things and those needs. So our people come together. We educate our students here in our district, but we also do what we can to make them feel special, to make this the best place they can be. A student comes through to get their education. And just moving forward a little bit, also people don't know this, but we start planning for the next year in January and February. So I just want to get a little information out to you. Next week, you'll be getting information about turning in choice sheets for the high school and the middle school. I believe the middle school is going to send theirs out on Tuesday. Now, a lot of students at the high school, I know y'all got your choice sheets before we left, but we didn't have them all turned in. So we'll be looking for information on your choice sheets for next year and how to get those in. We're going to do those online. For those of y'all who did not get to turn those in, well, you know, we do them by different grade levels, and y'all turn them in on different dates. So some of y'all hadn't hit your dates yet. So be looking for information on that. Also, we're talking about our technology piece and our teachers in the virtual classroom, but at the high school, please, if you do not have access to the internet, and we're trying to get all those names right now, we're going to start having opportunities to get packets out to you, to do your work and those like that for those of y'all who do not have those internet opportunities, because we don't want the learning to stop for anyone in our school district.
You know, we did the original assessment. We had an extremely low percentage. We're very lucky because we had an extremely low percentage of students who didn't have access to the internet. So, you know, that's one other thing to add to those seniors is, you know, be sure there's a table in front of the school. So if you need that scholarship information, please drop by. No appointment required. You'll walk up the sidewalk and grab the information. And remember, on our website, we have a specific link that our counseling department has that involves social and emotional learning, but it also has a way for you to sign up to get information from the counselors. It's a Google Sheet. So if you would, just go ahead and fill that out. If you need information, that's parents and students and anybody that might need it. And you know, and get that help you need. So I appreciate all of you being here, and more importantly, I appreciate the teachers and the community and everybody involved.